They killed the stalker? That is impressive. Well, hello there all you absolutely magnificent people, and welcome back to another episode of An Ecologist Plays, where we talk about nature while playing games. My name is Will, I'm an ecologist by training, and we are back in Enshrouded in the world of Embervale. And we are heading out to go and get a tanning station, and hopefully also the blacksmith's tools. Now we're just going to quickly stop over here, because, well, there is a little settlement over here. I think it is a farm if I'm not mistaken. Indeed it is, Fanning Ranch, and hopefully the animals that are most likely here, I suspect there'll be a lot of rats, seeing that, well, it is a farm. Hopefully they are calm. Hopefully they don't attack us, unlike the little kitties. Yeah, there we go, they are fine. So unlike what the kitties have done the past while, these rats at least are not attacking us. Alright, I did see some glow in here. Oh, there we go, there's a barrel. Unfortunately, the rats will now be caught in the blast, and of course, they are then going to attack us. We need to see what is happening in the rubble here. So, let's just make it go boom, and see if we are now attacked by the rats. Hopefully not. Nope, does not appear to be the case. But thankfully, the rats believe that their little friend over here just got caught in a random, spontaneous explosion, and we had absolutely nothing to do with it. We did, however, grab a soul there. Rochelle Anders. Oh, that is the daughter of the blacksmith. So that is marvelous news. He'll be so happy to see his daughter again. Well, the actual reason I came through here is, there we go, there is in fact a little farmland area over here. Now I did dig to see what farm soil we have here, but we don't even really have a proper layer of farm soil here. We just have the Nomad Highland dirt underneath a very, very, very thin layer of farm soil. Now, the reason I'm also here is I actually thought we'd get some wheat here. However, we are getting some sugarcane here. And look at this little sugarcane plantation. Now, I have been meaning to talk about sugarcane for a very, very long time, but I just always tend to forget. But these are massive, massive grasses. And you know they're grasses because if you look at the stems, and if we just turn like this, there we go, you can see the highly segmented stem there. So there are these little lines running along the stem. Those are the nodes, and then in between them there'd be the internode. And you'll have your leaves coming off the nodes of the plant here. And if you look at your grass, if you've got a lawn, you look at the grass there, you'll find it also has nodes like these. And usually in grasses, the internodes are hollow. But of course in sugarcane, in between the nodes there, in the internode section there, that's where the sugar is that you want. And we're just going to harvest some sugarcane here so we can actually craft some seedlings. Now these plants grow very, very tall. They do love moisture, so they would like to be in areas where there is in fact a lot of moisture, but they also like a lot of sun. So a sunny, wet area, that is where they grow best. And for some reason, these sugarcane here have died back. Now, they wouldn't really die at the end of a growing season. They are longer lived. They're not annual grasses. So what you would do is you would wait for them to grow to a nice height, and then you would chop them down, and of course harvest the stems, and then process it into sugar. Now, it's very difficult. If you have a massive sugarcane plantation, it can be surprisingly difficult and surprisingly dangerous to harvest the stems of the sugarcane here. And that's because, well, there will be lots and lots of rodents, as we have here, living in the sugarcane plantations. In South Africa, for example, we will have the cane rat, which is a very big rat. Think like a staffy size, a little bit smaller. They are massive in size, and they love being in their sugarcane plantations. And of course, if you've got them, they're going to breed, and if you've got baby cane rats, well, that's great food for snakes like black mamba. And you don't want to just go around in the sugarcane plantation. I've heard reports of people seeing black mamba sail on top of the sugarcane, like sailing on top there, like it is water. It looks like they are swimming, but they're actually sailing on top of sugarcane. So it's a very dense planting. And in order to actually make it safer and easier to harvest, what they tend to do is before they harvest, they burn the area. So they wait for it to be ready to harvest, and then they burn the plantation, and after they have burnt it, they will then come in and chop out the stems, because then it's safer. You run less of a risk that you're actually going to get bitten by a snake by accidentally grabbing onto a snake there. But the sugarcane we got there will make a fine addition to our, well, first of all, our food forest, but then also the Botanical Gardens that we are creating. So stay tuned for an update on the progress of the Botanical Gardens, because I have finally started with that project. Oh, something is attacking everything else there. Oh, it's the Sabretooth cats that are under attack by the stalker. There is a shroud stalker in there. Hello, kitty. Oh, they killed the stalker? That is impressive. Well done, kitties. I thought you were definitely done for. But 3 saber-toothed cats can take down a stalker, it seems. Well, that is very, very interesting. Of course, teamwork there really makes the dream work. So the fact that there are 3 of them together, while one distracted the stalker, the other 2 could actually get some swipes in there, which, makes perfect sense. That is awesome. Now, there is another farm here. I think this is Bounty Farm, isn't it? I'm not sure. Which farm is this? Yeah, there we go. Bounty Barn, not Bounty Farm. And there are wheat seedlings here that we may be able to grab. I can't seem to grab any of those seedlings, but we can grab the actual plants here. So we're going to just grab the grains here. We can process them into more seedlings for our farm. And of course, we have some Sabretooth cats here as well. And like with the black mambas being attracted to the sugarcane plantations, because of the cane rats there, the Sabretooth cats are here because there are most likely rodents here and smaller prey animals that they can feed on. And the rodents, of course, are attracted to this area by the wheat that's here. So when there's food for the rodents, carnivores are sure to follow. Now, I think we are getting very close to where I wanted to be. I thought there was a respawn point around here somewhere. I really would have preferred there being a respawn point here. But yeah, doesn't look like there is. This little settlement up here, this is Lupa's Lair. And this is actually a very nice, defendable settlement. I mean, you've got one entry point here. So you've got the bridge along here. It's the only point of entry. And then you've got the settlement on that mesa over there. So unless you have got a way of flying onto the little island there, in essence, you have to cross the bridge. And that is exactly what we are going to do now. And hopefully, we're not going to die in the process. Now, one reason one does want to come here is because below here, there are actually some building blocks we can get. And we're going to go for those in a moment. I'm just going to first see if I can clear that guy up there. There we go. The fossilized bone arrows just make short work of them. And then we're just going to zoot on over here. And in this little silver chest here, they're regular stone block. Really, really nice building blocks to grab. And now this is Lupa's Lair. And there is a matron that we are going to attack momentarily. But I'm not going to take her head on. I am a ranged individual after all. And for me, that also means that I should be attacking in a safe way. And for me, that means sneaking around a bit. I'm just going to clear out this area a bit. And there's the matron right over there. Now with the matron there, I could try to take her down with my normal fossilized bone arrows. But I've got another idea. As we just have this nice, very nice long range attack on the wolfie there. Ah, there we go. She is in fact going to come closer. Now I could attack her like this, but I have crafted these arrows specifically to take down the matron. The shroud arrows. Because why not? If you have it, use it. They want to be addicted to the elixir. How are those addictive properties helping you now, eh? Now sure, this may be cheesing her, but we're not here to fight. We are here to talk about nature. Unfortunately, the matron was in the way. Now I do wonder whether there isn't perhaps a berserker in here as well, and if there is, I don't want to really be caught off guard by him. If there is one, it's likely in this area of the keep. So we're just going to see if we can sneak in a bit to this side. I think this matron is Lupa, if I'm not mistaken. But she's not actually the reason why we are here. We are actually here because of the tanning station, which should be located just at the back here somewhere. Ah, there we go, to the left. Wonderful. This is going to be another game changer, and we'll chat about that in a moment. Indeed, there is a berserker right over there. He will probably come for us in a moment, but I'm going to whittle down his health in the meantime. So here he comes. Not sure whether he'll be able to find a way up to where we are. Gonna try. And he is dead. Aha. That was the one guy I was worried about. But I did want to check because I have the memory of a secret passage along here. And I'm not sure whether anything has been put in here in the meantime. There is a glow. Oh, it's a soul. Now let's collect the soul. Robert Gibson. Well, I'd say that was very, very successful. So what we're going to do now is we're going to head on over into the shroud. And we're going to hopefully go and find the equipment for the blacksmith. Because as far as I recall, the Conways had a little caravan that came through this area. And, well, they decided to come through Umber Hollow, which then actually got swallowed by the shroud, as far as I recall. So if I'm not mistaken, it should be in here somewhere. Ah, the shroud, the shroud, the shroud. not my favorite area to run around in, if I'm being honest. Ah, but there is in fact a camp up here. Let's see what's happening here. I was just about to say I foresee critters all over the show. Yeah, indeed, just emerging from the ground. A nice little ambush by the critters there. Now, normally you wouldn't expect ambush hunting and pack hunting in particular from critters like these, from invertebrates like insects. Of course, you do have ambush hunters like ant lions, but you wouldn't have them hunting in packs. But here we are. This is the Conway's camp. Now, there we go. That is where we now need to go. Oh, there was a fell mushroom crab up there as well. Oh, and there are some more over there as well. 2 of them, actually. They do like walking together in groups. Oops, accidentally jumped into the shrouded area. This is not going according to plan. And I think I may die here. Yeah, indeed. Okay. Mistakes were made. But you know what? That is perfectly fine because it has allowed us to actually turn it into daytime, get our rested bonus up, and you know, I actually know more or less where to go from this side. Because I very often, in the past at least, have flown from this ancient spire here in the Nomad Highlands over to that area where the smithing tools are. So we're just going to make our way in that direction and hope we find it this time around. Now also, granted, normally when I fly like this, I have the ghost glider, which we don't have yet. So I'm not actually sure whether we'll be able to make it. Somehow, I don't think we're going to make it. Nonetheless, here we go. We are heading back into the shroud once more, and let's see what we find. Hopefully, we don't die again. We do have some mint mushrooms we can just harvest a few of again, because we do need these in crafting recipes, so we may as well grab a few while we are here. This is a nice one. You know what, I'm going to leave this big one. It is reproducing, it is producing a lot of spores. We're just going to take some of the smaller ones here. And that reminds me kind of how there are regulations to control what size fish you, for example, can take out. Where generally, in South Africa, for example, we do have that. Where you're not allowed to take out with certain species if they're under 30 centimeters in size or under 60 centimeters, depending on the species. The species will determine the size, the minimum size they need to be in order for you to legally take them out. And, you know, it's done with the best of intentions, because fish will generally be a certain age when they are a certain size. And if they are too young, they most likely have not reproduced yet, so you need to give them a chance to actually reproduce. And that's the whole idea with the size limits. As we are just going to glide on over... Oh, there's a shroud root here. You know what, we're just going to take this out from a distance. That at least will allow us to breathe a bit more. Oh, hello there, guys. Oof. Nice bunch of you here. And we're just going to whittle you down slowly but surely. Luckily, I've set all of you on fire. There we go, okay. Let's just choppy. We don't want more of them spawning while I'm chatting about size limits and stuff like that. There we go. Okay. So, anyway, size limits. So, as mentioned, it's done with the best of intentions. So, the idea is that you want to allow fish to actually reproduce before you take them out. And not just reproduce once, but reproduce a few times before you take them out and, you know, kill them in the process. And you remove the genetics from the population in the process. Now, I suspect we are close to where we need to be. So, what's the problem with size limits then? If the idea is that fish reproduce before you harvest them, is that really bad? The thing is that what you are doing with size limits is you are removing the larger fish from the populations. And yes, those may be older individuals that have reproduced, but some older individuals are also just smaller in size. So there's also the chance that the smaller individuals have already reproduced. And if you remove the big ones, you are left with smaller individuals because they're not big enough to be taken out, and they didn't have a chance to breed and pass on their genetics. And in the end, what could happen is you are accidentally selectively breeding smaller and smaller individuals. Individuals that have reproduced, they can technically be taken out, but because they are too small, we don't take them out. So instead of taking out just all the big fish and potentially breeding smaller and smaller fish, with some scientists at least, there's a push to actually have, rather than take out fish above this size limit, take out mostly fish above a certain size, but also take out some of the smaller fish. But the problem with that is you don't know whether those smaller fish are in fact older individuals that have reproduced, or whether they are just young individuals that would have grown bigger, but they just haven't had the chance to reproduce yet. You know, for some reason, I can't find the blacksmith tools. And I've been looking and looking and looking, and I have been unable to find it. Watch how it's going to be right over here somewhere. Yeah, right here by the bridge. There we go. Alright, so now let's head home, shall we? And I will just place the smithing tools here by Oswald. There we go. The tanning station, yeah, I think we're just going to plop down here for now. We don't really have a place for it, but that's alright. We're going to sort that out later. You see, this is why we needed the tanning station. We needed to craft leather so we can make better armor. Now the tanning here involves us getting dried fur and mixing it with salt and ammonia glands here to then turn it into leather. Now the process of tanning like this is very interesting, really interesting to me. Tanning consists of taking, well, fur and then permanently altering the protein within it. And the way you would do that, in the past at least, was with tannins. And you can think tannin, tanning, yeah, same thing there. And tannins were obtained from things like chestnuts and oak trees in particular. And tannin comes from tannum, which means oak bark. That's the medieval Latin for oak bark. And what tannins do is they bind to proteins. And in the process of tanning, it would bind to the protein in the dried fur and permanently change it in such a way that it cannot be decomposed easily. And that means that you now have leather that is then properly cured leather. And in the past, plant material was commonly used for this, but since the 1950s and 60s, synthetic tannins have actually been used a little bit more, and actually quite a lot more, to the extent that plant matter really only makes up about 10 to 15 or maybe 20% of the leather tanning. But it takes a long time to do tanning with plant material, up to 6 months in some cases. So it will take quite a long time here for us to take the fur and turn it into leather. But we are going to start doing that. You know, let's see if we can make 100 leather to start with. That is very nice. Alright, we've actually run out of dried fur, which I beg to differ because there we go, we've got another 116 right over here. Now, before we end today's episode, I want to show you something special. So let's head on over to where the Botanical Gardens are being built, and here we are. Now this doesn't look like much, but there's a lot of potential here, and I have actually upgraded the radius of the flame to actually extend all the way to right over here. You can kind of see the line running right over there. So it's quite a big area that I have to work with here. But I have been busy in the rocks over there, and it doesn't look like much yet. It's still progress. That's going to be my little hobbit hole up there. But more importantly, I have filled up this area. It was a very steep valley. It wasn't very nice at all. I have filled it up. I have excavated a little stream here, and we have a little waterfall flowing down the mountainside here as well, from a spring up there. Now, I do have to actually sort out the water here because I'm accidentally flooding this area. This is being turned into a floodplain at the moment. But this area here, I'm going to have the Nomad Highlands vegetation. It's going to be spread along here. I'm also going to have a little stream flowing through some of the other areas as well. But I still need to finalize the layout of our botanical gardens. But for now, it has taken many hours just to get this area more or less functional. But I'll give you guys a tour of the hobbit hole when I have excavated it a little bit more. But for now, thank you very much everyone for joining me on our shortish adventure today. Hope you had fun. I had a lot of fun. Of course, I'll be back on Tuesday to explore a bit more in Star Rupture. And then next Friday, we will probably actually be heading over into the Kindle Wastes, which are located right over there. So if you've got any questions or comments, please pop them down in the comments below. Until next time, stay safe everybody. I'll see you all soon. Cheers!